Today we're going to analyze what makes prime Margot Robbie so attractive. So for her front, she scored incredibly well at a 8.68, which is roughly a top 0.03% face. So this is pretty much highest of Stacy type of facial harmony for the front. For the side, she gets a 7 out of 10, which is also really good. And it's roughly a top 3.5% side profile harmony, and overall that's a 8 out of 10 facial harmony, which is exceptionally high facial harmony. So her facial harmony is pretty accurate to her actual overall facial rating when we include things like misc, angularity, and dimorphism. I'll give her a 8.25 to 8.5, which is roughly best looking out of millions of people. Getting into her front ratios, her biggest front harmony flaw, according to Face IQ Labs, is her eyebrow tilt, and she got a 6.23 out of 10 on this one. And this is because her eyebrows are too positively tilted. We can just visually see it's just too positively tilted, and it's giving her a resting, like, bitch face type of look. It makes her look aggressive. Yeah, it says right here. And these are the mappings that I did. So her eyebrows start from here, that's her peak, and things like that. And in the ideal range, it should be in the 13 range. And her biggest flaw was her deviation of lips lateral angle and jaw frontal angle. This is because her jaw is too flat. We can just visually see that her jaw is just too flat, and that's causes a missed deviation of the lips lateral angle and jaw frontal angle. Lateral canthal tilt, and her canthal tilt is actually too high, and this also contributes to her looking bit aggressive, her looking bit uncanny. So her canthal tilt on average is on 10 degrees, and in ideal world it should be in the 7 range. One eye apart test, she has slightly wide set eyes, and we can see it here. Ideally it should be in the 1 range. Eye aspect ratio, her eyes are too round, so it should be more compact. Chin to philtrum ratio, her philtrum is too long and her chin is too short, which contributes to a suboptimal chin to philtrum ratio. And in her long philtrum actually contributes to her mid face ratio being off. We can see that this is because of her wide set eyes and because of her slightly long philtrum. Her total FWHR, again, her face is a bit too long. So these are her facial thirds, and her forehead is actually too big compared to her mid face and her lower third. This should be the smallest. For the forehead should be the smallest, and then it should be the mid face and the lower third. So her facial thirds should actually be the opposite, because the forehead is the biggest and the lower third is the smallest, which is the opposite of what we want. Ear protrusion angle, her ears are very slightly flared, which is a minor flaw. Jaw frontal angle, we talked about this, it's a bit too flat. These are her facial thirds again. Bigonial width, it's perfect. Her jaw isn't too wide or too narrow. Lower third proportion, perfect. ESR, perfect. Mouth to width to nose ratio, perfect. FWHR, perfect. Lips lateral angle, perfect. 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 Neck width, perfect. In women, we don't want necks too wide or too narrow. Bitemporal width, perfect. She has high set cheekbones, really good. And these are all good. Onto her side ratios. So she fails the lip assessment here, and this is because her nose is too projected. Yeah, we can see that she doesn't pass it. Her chin is fine, it's just her nose. And this contributes to her nose being too big. We can see it here. Lip assessment. So her biggest flaw stems from not passing the lip assessments and her nose. And she doesn't pass the lip assessments because of the nose again. We can see it here. She actually has a very slight dorsal hump. We can see it right there. Her nose is just too big. Mandibular plane angle, lip assessment, gonio angle. It's too flat, and we again talked about this in her front profile with the jaw frontal angle, and this contributes to a more masculine look, and it looks a bit uncanny. Frankfurt tip, convexity, lip assessment, nose tip rotation angle, and starting from brow ridge inclination angle, she gets everything perfect. So her brow ridge is good. Her nasal frontal angle, again, another brow ridge measurement, good. Nasal tip angle, good. Her nose isn't too refined or too round. Good. Good. Yeah, she gets everything perfectly. Long ramus, recession relative to Frankfurt plane, orbital vector, maxilla is projected. Face IQ Labs actually has a thing where you can look at your plan and potential on how much you can increase your facial harmony and how you're going to increase your facial harmony. If we look here, we have natural soft maxing of treatments that we can do, and we also have hard maxing surgical things that we can do. And we can see that her side is a 7 right now, but with her potential is at 8.6 according to Face IQ Labs. And she has 4 minor things to do and 5 moderate things to do. So this is really good for people who want to know how attractive they are and want to know their potential and want to know how they can get to their potential. If we can look at the timeline, yeah, she needs a rhinoplasty. We talked about her nose being too big, and it shows how much it'll cost, and it'll show how much long the recovery process will be. So the effectiveness is really high. This is how long it'll take to see your final results, and it even shows your risks and side effects. And she needs facial liposuction. This is because her angularity isn't too good. Rounded neck region. These are the side effects. And it makes sense. Margot Robbie will ascend the most with rhinoplasty, in my opinion. Her nose is just a bit too big, and once she gets it reduced, she'll pass all the lip assessments and stuff like that. And these are her key strengths, her top 3 strengths, and these are her top 3 worst flaws according to Face IQ Labs. Again, overprojected nose, the flat jaw, which messes up her jaw frontal angle, and her canthal tilt is too high. That's it for the video, guys. If you guys like this video and want your facial analysis just like I did for Margot Robbie here, including your front ratio, your side ratio, your current score, and how you're going to improve with the surgical and non-surgical advice, and if you also want your potential score on how you can improve and your potential, including your best strengths in your areas of improvement, Face IQ Labs is in my comment section and in my description. Face IQ Labs is the best software to know how attractive you are and how you can improve and to know your potential.